Hello, everybody. So we are on the free to play here. Um, it has been a frustrating afternoon for me. I missed out on quests literally by one campaign run. Um, and what I find very frustrating about the dailies, because I was doing it right up to the wire, I completed them, but I wasn't fast enough to get out of the campaign to accept the quests. Because I was doing it right at the wire. So I'm a little disappointed about that. And I mean, that's partly a result of many different things. I woke up, I took a nap, I woke up to try and complete my quests, but I got sidetracked doing Tag Team Arena to make up for those gold bars in order to grab the fragments for Drexstar. When I just clicked him, you may have heard the crumbling sound effect. That was because I did get them. However, I failed to finish the rest of my dailies. And a lot of this has to do with many different things going on. Um, Slight fatigue on my part, where I've just been pushing so hard on both accounts because I'm very excited about the events going on my main. I am going for Torment. So that was part of it because I've been doing a lot of stuff on my main account today and last night as well. So I think I also just took a break last night from playing, which contributed a little bit to this as well. Um, Clan v Clan, I always struggle during Clan v Clan to find success on both accounts because I'm doing so much. Now, a couple of things have happened as well. So in my clan, I, I'm trying to find the right words for it, but I basically changed a lot of the way that my clan runs. So my clan, for the most part, has been running with this concept of that very like encouraging, trying to develop growth and build really strong players out of newer players or players that perhaps do not understand the game. Um, in the past, I've been quite patient, and this morning, for lack of a better word, I may have overreacted slightly. Um, I had two members of my clan that did not reach my minimum in the clan, which is 20,000. So I instituted a couple new rules in my clan, basically saying like there are minimums for arena ranking right now. The clan v clan points minimum went up, and I'm requiring members of my clan to join Discord now. And one other person did not agree with that and decided to leave, which it was very like mutual parting of ways, very respectful. Like, hey, I understand you don't agree with that. That's fine. I wish you good luck wherever you end up. Um, and that's because the direction that I want to take the clan is one that's competitive. I want to be able to win a personal rewards clan v clan. Granted, I did get almost 100,000 points, and I pulled a lot of shards this time to do that, which I don't normally pull during clan v clan. Um, but the amount of points here that comes from those shard pulls, I believe, is negligible. I believe most of these points are coming from me saving my books and upgrading, using the books that I saved, leveling up champions, um, and being smart about how I spend my resources. So I waited until Clan v Clan started to spend on my faction, not spend, but to do my faction wars and to do my Iron Twins and things like that. So, I was smart with my resources, and that is what got me such a high score. I also completed a mission, which then helped me speed all the way up through this to this mission, which gained me resources that I was able to put into the game. Um, so, anyways, the reason I'm sharing this all with you is because I've now instituted a minimum in my clan for currently it's silver 1 is the minimum rank. They have until the end of this month to achieve that, and then in February they will have then what 2 months, or no, they'll have another month to achieve gold. Now I wanted to talk about PvP today because there's certainly a bit of a concern when you look at my clan, that some members may struggle to reach gold. So I wanted to address that for them who watch some of this content, but also for you, the viewers, that may be struggling to get into gold. Now, I've made a video about this before. It's actually kind of the video that launched my channel. It's my most viewed video, or at least it was. And but I haven't really talked about Arena since, and I wanted to kind of talk about my team and talk about where your shortcomings might be in Arena. First and foremost, I want to talk about a couple methodologies. So let's look at my champions. Well, I'm going to run a team real quick in Arena here. Now, I don't know how I'm going to do against this team. Okay. Okay. Big hit. That's... Okay, there we go. Kale brought in the remaining amount of damage there. And then we just have a really tough Syl to deal with. But we've already witnessed that we can deal with the Deliana, so I'm not worried about this. This should be a victory here. Okay. Alright, so that's an all legendary team that I was able to beat pretty easily, honestly. I lost... Did I lose anybody? I think I lost one person. So that was relatively easy. And the thought may be, well, you must have better gear or other things. We've talked about my gear advantage. I did have a gear advantage. I furthered that advantage recently. I don't even think I've leveled up some of that gear that I got recently in the form of the Killstroke gear. Yeah, I still have these two pieces that are pretty decent pieces that need to get leveled up. This one especially, defense percent and crit rate. That is a very, very solid piece that I probably need to do something with. And then, what was the other set in that event? It was a common enough set as was it crit damage? No. I'll remember it. Give me a second. Was it Relentless? I don't think it was Relentless. Oh, it was Divine. It was a Divine set. Divine Speed. That's what it was. Yeah. And so again, here again, you can see that like this item, this is an incredibly good item that I just haven't put any points into yet. But I got a pre-roll, an extra roll into crit rate. And so why don't we just go ahead and roll this real quick, right? Let's go ahead and take this to 12 and see what we get. Wow. Beautiful. Love it. That's a lot of crit rate on a shield. That is going to really help me build out the champions in the future. You can see this piece right here is really valuable because I get 20% crit rate, but there's no crit damage on it. So if I can find a way to make up that 4 crit rate, really 3 because I have, or no, 2 because I have 2 extra crit rate here. If I could find a way to make up an extra 2 crit rate somewhere, I would be able to then up my crit damage by 12. Now, not necessarily because of the Killstroke set and everything. There's, you know, we're not rebuilding any champions right now, but I did just want to point out that that's kind of how to look at it. But what I want to do is talk about specifically stats over sets. It's a phrase that you may hear me put out quite often. Now, I am lucky enough to have speed boots and a cruel chest that happen to have attack. You'll notice this is a green chest plate, but it has great rolls on it that it has crit rate and crit damage. Would I prefer to have attack on this? Absolutely. But the fact that it just has both of those is huge. One of the things that this shield will do for me potentially is give me the crit rate so that I can increase the crit damage here. Now, if you go from, what is the max roll on crit damage gauntlets? Raid. Because I don't know how that works. So now, yeah, raid. Is there a way to, is it gonna tell me like? I'm just trying to find out what the max is on gloves. I do have a set of gloves that's crit damage, so I can just look it up. Equipped. I think it's on. So 65% is crit damage. So if I was to put these on, I gain 53 crit damage. So losing the Killstroke set doesn't matter because I would gain more crit damage just from equipping these particular pieces. This is a piece that I need to roll as well because the crit damage on this, if I get a good enough crit rate roll and I can find crit rate helmet and all kinds of things, then I can build out my Sun Wukong a little bit better. That's why my Kale seems to hit a lot harder right now. You'll see that stat-wise, we're only going to focus on their attack. They're quite similar. So, well, other than the big... So Kale has less attack overall. His total attack is 3,500, while Sun Wukong's is almost 4,000. So about 500 attack difference. However, what Kale gains is a huge amount of crit damage. So Kale's crit damage is 197. Sun Wukong's, I would say, is probably in the 161. So Kale actually hits harder than Sun Wukong does right now. I've mentioned in the past wanting to swap their gear around, so that Sun Wukong would hit harder. That may be something that's coming sooner rather than later. Once Frozen Banshee gets built up and ready to go, it's likely that Kale gets put on the back burner, and that's another topic that I want to talk about here in a second. But from a PvP perspective, the main things that I'm looking for, I'm lucky enough to have Deacon Armstrong, which means that I can be a little bit more relaxed on speeds than other teams might be because I get a speed aura. Well, no, I get that. You all get that from Sun Wukong, but the turn meter fill that I get from Deacon ensures that I only have to build one champion really, really fast, which is Deacon Armstrong. So all I need is speed and accuracy. Well, there happens to be a perfect set for that called Perception, which gives you speed and accuracy. And then I'm able to throw an extra speed set in there as well. 5-star speed boots. That's a lucky roll. Now, I would love to have an accuracy banner on him. I still have not pulled one. I'm not going to invest in any 4-star gear at this point. While I am still in a situation where I'm consistently farming and getting 4-star gear, I do not intend to invest in any of it, meaning I'm not going to put my silver into gear that I will replace, especially since my account currently isn't, quote-unquote, broken. I'm able to win at the level that I'm currently wanting to win at, which is Gold 1, so there's no point in me further enhancing bad gear that I will eventually replace, if that makes sense. I'm happy with where I'm at, and will settle for the resources that I am able to get instead of reaching and kind of going on weaker gear per se. There's a nice little ancient that I'm happy to get for this weekend. All right. So now let's kind of finish up talking about Arena and the team. So my team it's speed tuned in a very specific way. So Deacon is my fastest champion, I think, on the account. He is at 200 speed. Again, that's a combination of perception and speed. Now, ideally, a speed lead like a Deacon if possible, you would want to be in all speed gear. However, because Deacon also is my debuffer for decreased attack, I need him to be to have accuracy as well. So perception and speed combined really fills that role out quite well, and I'm happy with that. So that ensures that Deacon goes first, and he will boost my team and then decrease the defense of the enemy team, barring any resistances. After Deacon goes, it's followed up by my Ursula. So I specifically make Ursula fast enough that she would go right after Kale. Now, the great thing about Ursula, you do need accuracy on Ursula as well, because she's my increase attack champion, but also my decrease attack champion. Now, Ursula is a hard champion to get. She is a void rare. They are obviously not very common, or void epic, sorry. They are obviously not very common, but what would be a suitable solution? Well, for the longest time, I used Spirit Host. Spirit Host is a champion that you can use at a very low level only to give your team increased attack. Now, she does bring block debuffs, which can be a benefit, or a cleanse and block debuffs, which is very, very good, honestly. So if you did want to build her to stay alive, that's great, but ideally, you're building a team that wins in one hit. That's the goal that you should have in mind, especially if you're in the sub-gold 1 area. Now, when you hit gold 1, things change. Teams get much tougher. But if you're progressing and trying to work your way up to gold 1, Spirit Host is a champion that you can farm from campaign to achieve that. Not Catacombs. Is it Durham? Yeah. So she is a rare that spawns in Durham Forest. You can farm her by just leveling champions in Durham Forest until she drops, and then get her and use her for that increased attack champion. So that is an option to replace Ursula in my particular build. Then we go back to the champions. So that's followed up by Sun Wukong. Now, why do I want Sun Wukong to go third? Well, I want him to remove any buffs. If there was a chance that the team was able to build up their buffs on themselves, I want Sun Wukong to remove them. So Sun Wukong, he doesn't have much accuracy on my account, so I don't always land those removes, but when I do, it's extremely beneficial. Sometimes you'll run into shield sets, not bolster, obviously that's protected, but shield sets will have shields on champions. I can take those shields off completely and even put them on Sun Wukong, which is quite valuable. Stone Skin as well is another advantage there that I have. And then, of course, I place block buffs. So even if my Kale happens to be too slow and one of their champions goes to buff their team, well, now they're block buffed and therefore cannot land those buffs, and then my Kale will have an opportunity to do even more damage. Now, my Kale is as strong as he is because he's the only champion I've rebuilt recently. Sun Wukong needs to be rebuilt, but I've been hesitating on rebuilding Sun Wukong until I can also change his masteries, which will occur once my new Hydra Clan Boss team is up and running to full capacity. We're still not at full capacity. I intend for Venomage to be the replacement for Sun Wukong in Clan Boss. There, at that point, I'll be able to rotate Sun Wukong into a PvP only build where I would go for Helm Smasher, which will increase his damage output even more. So that's how the team works. I try to make sure I go first, I debuff them, and then I hit them with 2 very hard hits from Sun Wukong and Kale. Now, what are some replacements? Well, Sun Wukong was a free champion that most of you watching may have gotten. If you were brand new to the game, you likely don't have Sun Wukong because I believe his event is over. In that regard, well, let's also talk about replacements for Deacon. So let's talk about maybe a more free-to-play friendly version of this. So what you would likely want to do if you don't have a Deacon, I can't begin to assume what epics you may have. So if we talk purely free-to-play, you would want to have Spirit Host likely as your lead for her speed aura in 10%, all battles by 10%. Then you would want to have a decreased defense champion. I would recommend War Maiden in that scenario. I've fed my War Maiden, but War Maiden is another campaign farmable champion that you can get from the Deadlands, who brings the big version of decrease of defense once she becomes ascended. And then you would want to have 2 heavy hitters. Kayle, if that is your starter champion, will most likely be your heaviest hitter. So you can I use Kayle in this instance, but you could use Elhain, you could use Galek, you could use Athel. It doesn't really matter who you use in that instance. And then you would want another decent hitter that you may have acquired along the way. Now, I can't think of any free-to-play examples other than the starter champions. So if you've happened to pull any of a second starter champion, you could use one of those. But I do know there are some really high-quality rares out there that will do quite a bit of PvP damage for you. If you're well into the game but have been very unlucky with rolls and are looking for a strong epic to do damage, Dark Elhain is a free champion that we all get. She is quite a good PvP nuker. She hits very hard and brings some nice quality debuffs, as well as a self buffer with the increased attack. So she gives herself increased attack, then attacks all enemies and can place decreased speed. It hits quite hard, and then obviously there's her freeze counter mechanics, which can be beneficial. You can't really count on that. But as a free champion that hits hard, Dark Elhain is a great PvP nuker option. Given the current champions on my roster, it's quite possible she would be a replacement as I progress on the account for she would be a good replacement for my Kayle as I progress. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted here. Okay. So that's how the team works. Let's watch it in action again now that we kind of understand. Now, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the methodology of doing runs. Now, I started tonight with 10 battles, and I went straight down the list. I lost these 2, and then I won these 3. Now, I think I'm going to lose this one, and mainly because I think that they're going to win the speed battle and kind of cancel me out here. Plus, Skullcrown is going to have an unkillable. I don't really have a way of dealing with that because Sun Wukong will likely go before I have an opportunity. Plus, the counterattack, her A1 hits so hard, she's just going to burn me down. We did manage to get Sun Wukong off. My Deacon can survive for a little while, but he is going to die there. Now, I'm okay with that. So then we just say, okay, we lost that one. Let's go next. This is another one I feel like I should lose. They have 2 great legendary AoE nukers, and I'm going to have a hard time getting to them through their ultimate Death Knight. However, I win the speed battle, and I'm able to take out both of their nukers. Now, Sun Wukong does revive himself, and Syl is going to revive their Rhonda. So I could still lose this, but we are looking pretty good. We want to kill the Syl here, so I'm going to tell them to target her and see if we can get that damage in. That's a good hit for us. We want Sun Wukong to die there because he will bring himself back. And thankfully he survives. That should be the victory for us. We'll get another turn because we're faster than his Rhonda, and we win. So you can kind of see how the team works. It does help that I have a champion like Ursula. It does extremely help that I have a champion like Deacon. Let's say I lost that battle, okay? And then I come down here and I would do this battle. Now, this one I think I'm going to win. Yes, they have Pythion, but I'm not really afraid of anyone else on their account. Yep. Kale got to go a second time there because his cooldown refreshes when he gets kills on the A3, which is something that I didn't know until I started this free to play. So that's a good one. Now, unfortunately, their Pythion is quite strong here, and I don't have my revive. Yeah, okay. So that is a really, really solid team. It's a smart defensive team where they put all of their faith in Pythion and built him up very strong. So, all right. So in the imaginary scenario, I lost 3 in a row. What do I do when I lose 3 in a row? I hit refresh. Oh, hey, look. Oh, hey, look. A couple free wins here. And I would then do those. That's my process. Is it perfect? No. Is it the official, like, probably what, people would say in other content creators or whatever? No. But I'm lazy, and it works for me. If I ever lose 3 in a row, I refresh if I can. Or if I have to wait 15 minutes, I stop and I go do something else. I come back, I hit refresh, I take my free wins, and then I try to work my way back down through the list and see where I can find success. If I fail 3 again, rinse and repeat. It's a methodology that has worked for me. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, as I always say. I am Gold 1. I'm solidly in Gold 1. Let's talk about why I'm solidly in Gold 1. Your defense. Now, if I was in Gold 3 or 4, I would likely put in a one-person defense. I'd probably throw in like my apothecary in here. And I would then bounce around between the ranks because I would lose. Now, I feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that you cannot lose more than 10 battles a day. Your team will be presented to more people, but you won't lose ranking more than 10 battles per day. So, and I believe that losing those battles does benefit you with the whole kind of way that I just did the refresh, because I lost battles and it gave me easier runs. I think that's a thing. I don't know if it's confirmed, but I think Ash has mentioned that in his videos where he does that. He runs a one defense team that, yeah. So but basically what I was saying is, if your defense team loses 20 times, you only receive credit for losing 10 of those times per reset. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. Please feel free to correct me in the comments, but if you're going to come at me in the comments, give me evidence to support it, like a Reddit link or something along those lines. I think I've heard Saf on his channel say something about you can only lose 10 fights per day, or the equivalent rating of 10 fights per day. For me, because I want to stay in Gold 1, I am depending on it. And then we'll talk about why Arena is so important. Because I'm depending on being in Gold 1, I want to stay there. So I put my full team, my normal team, in as a defense. Maybe I win, maybe I lose. Let's look at the battle log. So my defenses, yeah, I win quite a few defenses. Now, do I get credit for those? No, but I am basically able to stay in my ranking, which is important to me. Do I get rank points? Are those the rank points? Yeah. I don't know how that works. I'll be honest, I don't know how that works. Let's talk about why Arena is so important. So what set me off today, and I don't mean to call this person out, but I'm just going to be honest with you guys, my viewers. I got set off today. So we lost our Clan v Clan. I was quite upset about it. And I started a video that was specifically for my clan members. And I basically said, hey, this is what's going on. I'm going to institute some new rules because I feel like that some people aren't pulling their weight and holding others back. And I feel like I finally have a way to properly analyze that because I have a free-to-play account myself in the clan that is wildly successful. So it's easier for me to sit there and judge and say, hey, if you can't do what I'm doing, or I'm asking them to do less than what I'm doing, if you can't do that, then you're probably not doing the right things, and I want to see those things fixed. But as I was discussing this, I went through the list and I saw this individual right here was in Bronze 1, and I was livid because they are completely ignoring Arena. I understand that you may not want to, and this is not, I'm talking generally to people. I'm not attacking this one person. I understand that that PvP is not a concept that everybody is interested in doing. One thing I love about the PvP in this game is that, as somebody that has a lot of anxiety and self-doubt and things like that, I don't have to deal with the pressure, like in live arena. When I fail, I feel like the other guy is laughing at me. Haha, what an idiot. You don't have to deal with that here. You're playing the AI. However, it's extremely important to do arena because everything else in the game is harder if you're not doing it. If you look at the tiers, you gain percent-based stats depending on your ranking. So, for example, that individual in my clan is only getting 1% HP, 1% attack, and 1% defense added to their teams. I'm getting 14% across the board on all of my characters. That's 14% more attack damage on Clan Boss. That's 14% more health on Clan Boss and 14% more defense on Clan Boss. That's keeping my teams alive. If you're not taking advantage of that, you're doing yourself a disservice, but you're also limiting how you can perform in other areas of the game for when it matters. So things like Hydra Clash, you're 14% weaker than me, so you're not going to put up as many points in Hydra. For Clan Boss, you're 14% weaker than me. You're not going to do as much damage. You're not going to survive as long. And if you are, it's because you have really strong champions, but those champions could just be 14% stronger. For Clan v Clan, you're 14% slower, 14% weaker against dungeons that you're doing. Faction Wars, you don't have 14%. You know, it's so your goal should be to hit at the very least rank 1 gold. Ideally, you want to hit rank 5 gold, but that is not an easy task. And this is why I'm able to make these claims and decisions for my clan, is because I'm doing it. You can see I'm about halfway to gold 2. Now, there's still plenty of time left this week. I could potentially hit gold 2 if I'm, on top of my arena and everything. But I don't really want to, because then the battles get much harder. And I'm at a 70% win rate, so I'm consistently getting my gold medals to complete missions and things that I need to do. Furthermore, competing in arena gets you mission. You need to do affinity bonuses to get Arbiter, one of the best speed legendaries in the game. If you want Arbiter, you're going to need to be competitive, because the only way to upgrade beyond level 7 is with gold medallions. So if you're not farming gold medallions, you're not going to be able to get to level 10 in any of these areas. So arena is extremely important, and I hope that I've kind of made it clear why. And that's why I work so hard to have a good arena team. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, this is a much longer video than normal, and I do apologize, but the last thing I want to talk about is gear. Stats over sets. I briefly mentioned this, I think, at the beginning of the video. However, if we go and look, my best gear that I have on the account is, for PvP, would be Savage gear, only 3 pieces, can't make a full set, or Instinct gear. This is a really good piece, but as you can see, I lack a chest piece in Instinct. Likely because I probably didn't get any that rolled attack percent. So rather than, I could make a set. I could put these on, right? I could put these boots on. I could put these gloves on, this weapon, and this helmet, and likely make a set. But what is it missing? Well, there's no attack on here or crit damage. There's no attack on here or crit damage. There's this is a really good piece. There's no attack on it, but this is a good enough piece I'd be able to sacrifice there. And then this has no attack. And when I say no attack, yes, they have flat stats, but there was no percent attack. I'm giving up a lot of resources not having percent-based attack in certain areas. And you'll see, like, I did get a couple rolls here, and then, of course, attack chest. So if I'm going to use this gear, and I'm, I'd likely have to have another attack percent chest. I'm trying to, like, talk too fast because I don't want this video to be too long. But my point is that I could build an instinct set, but I would be making way too many sacrifices for it to perform at the level that I want it to. If we look at my Sun Wukong stats, I mean, I've got, see this I get 2,000 extra HP because I'm from Arena, guys. An extra 222 attack. But my artifacts are giving me 2,127. Now, just for the sake of argument, we'll put this into the fitting room. And let's say I put these pieces of gear on. My attack does drop by quite a bit, but my crit rate just plummets to 67%. So I would not want to do that unless I had a way to make up for that crit rate somewhere else. So it's not always good to necessarily go with sets as much as it is to get good pieces of gear. I'm lucky enough to make the kill stroke here work, but to be honest, if I had a helmet, so let's look at helmets with crit damage. 19%. If I was to put this on, I would only lose 1 crit damage. So sometimes the sets aren't even worth it because you can just gain better stats. Oh, this is such a good helmet. I don't lose anything, right? Yeah, okay. Pardon me, guys. Oh, it's so satisfying. All right. So, case in point, if I put this helmet in, I'm gaining crit damage because there's no crit rate on this. I'm gaining crit damage and I'm gaining and I'm keeping my 20%. So, this is a really good piece and I'm going to put that on there. Sorry, guys, but it's just a straight apples to apples upgrade over the other piece because they get to maintain that damage. And so now my Sun Wukong hits even harder, 172%. So happy with that, and I didn't lose anything. But my point still stands: stats over sets. Case in point, if we look at Kale, Kale has no set combinations whatsoever, but dude hits harder than my legendary Sun Wukong right now. Maybe not now because I'm at 172% crit damage with a higher base attack by about 500. So it's possible that Sun Wukong may have passed him just now, this instant, but it took an amazingly incredible piece. You know, these pieces, some of them don't even make sense. But like, you know, Days gear is not gear that I'm like wanting to keep on my account usually, but it's a crit rate and crit damage. So, and it rolled into both. So that just makes it a good piece. Stats over sets. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I do apologize for the long one, but I wanted to kind of talk about Arena specifically from a free-to-play perspective and what's going on with my account and what's going on with my clan and everything. The last thing I will say is because I did have members that have been removed or that have left, I do have some openings in the clan. The clan is called Roadblocks Vanguard, RBVG. Feel free to look and apply if you are interested. I expect more members to be leaving or getting removed. However, keep in mind that you are required at this point to hit Silver 1 Arena, and you would need to be able to put up 30,000 Clan v Clan points, or I would remove you. Discord is also mandatory. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.